Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing a video on the XP Mi4 Pinpointer. The batteries can sometimes fail on these if you charge it for too long, or if the battery is just generally really old, you can upgrade them. So what I'm going to be doing today is upgrading from the battery that's currently inside of it to a larger battery. Now, I'm fairly certain that they used to have smaller batteries. This is just the sacrificed one I pulled out of a Pinpointer that broke. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lead from this battery today. And I'm going to adapt it onto this one. So what you're going to have to do is order, obviously, a new battery. This one is a 3.7 volt, 850 milliamp battery. And I'll give you guys a link for where I got this one from. You can get them on eBay. They're a little more expensive. The website that I used is called EcoCell. They're really good, really quick delivery. Not a sponsored video. It's just that I just really enjoy using their batteries for little mods like this. So what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to cut the lead off this battery here and change over this battery lead here. You'll see that they are a little bit different. If we can get the camera to focus. I don't remember off the top of my head what they're called. It's something JST. It is a 2-pin. You can just buy the actual lead itself, just a loose 10-pack of leads. And what you can do is desolder them in here and resolder the new lead. But what I'm going to do is just cut it about halfway and resolder the old lead onto it. If your battery has died and you don't want to upgrade it, if you don't want to cut the leads and hack things around, you can just buy a replacement battery from XP, and this will show you how to replace the battery as well. It's not purely if you want to upgrade the battery, but it'll give you an idea of how to open these up and how to sort of get them apart and back together. Now, just bear with me with the camera angle here. I've only got 2 lenses for this camera. I don't have anything in between, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to get everything in focus at once. First thing we're going to want to do is unscrew the back here. So if it'll focus, yeah, there's just one little screw. I've already gone ahead and I've already taken it out. And to get the actual back out of this, it is just press fit in there. So you can just whack it on your hand a few times and it will work its way out, just like that. And you can see the main circuit board there. Just take note when you do open this up, there is 2 little grooves here, or 1 little groove on each side, but there's 2 little notches here for it, and there's 1 notch on this side. You want to keep a record of where yours lines up to. I'm fairly certain they're all the same, but this side will go between the grooves and this side will go above the groove. You can see the circuit board sitting on top of it there. If you don't put that in the same order, your circuit board will get stuck and it's very difficult to get it back out, and you can risk damaging the actual coil inside of this unit here. So there we go, it's a bit better on the focus. I didn't realize the lens was zoomed in so much. What I'm going to do is pull my circuit board out here. You'll see just between the speaker, which is this part here, and the charger port, there's a little groove kind of gap on the board. So you can use some pliers and just gently grab between it and you can work it out. It is in there very well, so don't yank it and it will slowly slide out. Now, just be careful when you pull it out, because on the very old models, the little bracket here that holds the coil in place, they can break. And same for the actual coil leads here, they can snap as well. And I've tried soldering them back on, it isn't the same. So if you break that, you're pretty well going to damage your Pinpointer. So just be very mindful. If your plastic piece is broken off here, you can super glue it back on. I've had luck doing that in the past, but it is a bit of a weak spot for some reason. It wasn't very well thought out by XP. Now, what we're going to do first of all, I just really want to make sure this is all in focus for you guys. You want to unplug the battery, so get all this out of the way. Your battery is that big cell just there. Come on, focus for me. There we go. So that's your main battery. If you're not sure which battery to replace it with, it's written on the side here. This one is a 700 milliamp, 3.7 volt battery. It's a very standard cell size. You can get them from XP. From memory, they weren't cheap, but you can just get them online as well and do basically what I'm doing here. This replacement battery only cost me about $11 Australian, which I think is about $5 or $7 American. And a lot of battery suppliers will have them. It's a very common cell as well. So first thing we're going to do is unplug the connector here, your little JST connector. You can just use your fingernail and pull it out like that. So that's all unplugged now. And your battery here is double side taped on. So you have to kind of work it off. You can use heat, but I don't really want to because I can't be bothered. Just try and sort of twist it off a bit. And we want to try, if we can, leave some of the double-sided tape on there because I don't have any tape to replace it with. Slowly, there we go. So we can see that's just pulled off there. And we can just remove the battery here. So that was, it was on there pretty well, but it came off in the end. I'm going to write on my battery so I know which ones are which, because this one is water damaged and I don't want to get it mixed up with the other ones. And this one is okay, so I also don't want to get this mixed up with the water damaged stuff. Okay, so I've just put a little cross on the dead battery here and a tick on the good battery. So this dead one is going to be our sacrificial lead for today. There is some double-sided tape on there. I might try and clean with some alcohol and reuse as well. I might give that a crack soon. Now, you're going to need a soldering iron for this, obviously. This is just a little gas one that I've got. You can pick them up for $10 at Bunnings. And you want to use either some pliers, some side cutters. I've got these flush cutters here. And we're going to remove the sacrificial lead. So this can be either your old battery or a dead battery you might have laying around from another pinpointer, but you need to use the same lead. We're going to cut this lead off now, and I might change over to my other lens. Alright, that's going to kind of jump around on the focusing a little bit, but see how we go with this. Now, one important thing to note when you do cut the lead off your old battery, you don't want to cut them both at once because you will short out the battery and risk a fire. So you want to cut them both individually. So I'm just going to unwind it here a little bit. Just like that. I hope you guys can still see that okay. So just unwind it and cut one of them off at a time. So just snip here. And we'll snip the other one just there. So just like that, simple. You can get rid of your old battery at any battery bin. I'll take this one over to Bunnings later and put it in their bin. But this is the lead that you want. Now we're going to cut a little piece off the end here and expose the wires. I just failed that one miserably. Let's try a different way. It's very small, I don't know where my wire cutters are. So just burn it, pull off a little bit of that shielding there. Sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble getting this to focus, but I'll try, continue. So burn the other one off here as well. Just like that. And you can use your fingernail to sort of pull the sleeve off. Like that. So we've got two exposed ends. Now for our other battery, I'm going to cut this one the same. So again, don't cut them both at once. We want to cut them individually. It doesn't matter which one you do first, but just whatever you do, don't cut them both at once. I'm going to snip one and then the other. Alright. I'm going to cut just probably 1/4 of the way back from the end here because we're not reusing this connector. Just snip it there and snip it there. So we can get rid of this piece, we don't need that anymore. And again, we're going to get the ends exposed on this lead. So I'm just going to use a lighter. Obviously, use wire cutters if you can, but it's no big deal. Just peel that off, and same on the other end here. Peel that one off, just like that. Easy done. And now we're going to solder these tips here. Just put a bit of solder on the end just to help it all connect together. So I'll warm this up and I'll bring these back. Alright, I'm just changing the camera angle around here just to get a bit more of a view. So hopefully that's gonna be alright. Now, we want to just simply get a bit of solder on the ends of these tips here. Not too extreme, but just enough to coat them. And same goes for this little connector piece. So if you can see that, just split them apart there, and just a smidge. There we go. Cool. And then I'll keep that running on low. Want to also use a bit of heat shrink as well, because we don't want those little terminal ends or those little soldered ends exposed. So just cut off about 10 mil on each and sleeve them through this one here. Just whichever cable's the longest on either end you've cut. Just like that. And then we're going to solder this connector back on. So you want red going onto the red wire and black obviously going back onto the black wire. So if we can focus this, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Yeah, so we want, obviously red going to red, black going to black, and we don't want these little heat shields to fall off. So just hold this little connector here, and we'll just simply chuck that one on there. I mean, don't judge me for my soldering skills. I know there's better ways to do this. I'm not an engineer. So that one's soldered there. And before we do the other one, we will slide this heat shield on and we'll heat that one up there. Just enough to hold it in place, because what can happen if you're soldering this one here, it can sort of bounce over and land on the red one there, and it'll spark it and short the battery. So this lead is a little bit long, but it's okay. So just solder him onto that, and that should be okay. Cool, just like that, and we will shrink those onto there. Perfect. Now, I know this lead is a little long. I probably, in hindsight, should have cut it shorter, but that's all right. We can twist it up a little bit there, just like the other one was twisted, like so. And now, I'm going to clean up the double-sided tape on this old battery and see if I can reuse it. Because this battery is bigger, it's going to take up more space. I'm going to try and cover this surface area a little more, especially these little pins here. I just realized you guys can't see that, but I'm going to clean up this tape and cover these pins here with it, just so we don't short it out. Alright, it's not perfect, but it'll do. Just as long as it can hold this battery somewhat in place. So just go ahead and stick that on there. And we will wrap this lead here back through the notch. Alright, there was a bit of fumbling around there, but I finally got it plugged in. It was just a little bit hard to sort of do while I'm looking at the camera, just making sure it stays in focus. So it is plugged in. Now, I just want to try and wrap these cables a little bit. It doesn't matter if they are in the way of any of the components here because they're non-conductive. So it's not going to affect anything. So just wrap it where we can and switch that back off. So it is working. And just try and get that lead back through that. What I'll do, I might put a bit of tape on there just to hold it in place because it's not very well held on. If you do order a new battery from XP, they will give you new double-sided tape. I think the tape I've got here is just a little bit too dried out, so it's not holding it very well. So I will see if I can find something to hold that in place just for the meantime. So I was just recording a previous clip and realized that I forgot to line up the grooves. But yeah, just make sure you've got this side between the two grooves and this side above the groove. I had it below and the battery just wasn't getting enough clearance. So now you can see it is getting enough clearance, so it can slide in. You just have to make sure with your lead here, it is between that little notch in the circuit board. Otherwise, you're going to damage it when you slide this part in. So now you can just sort of work it in very slowly and gently. You don't want to force it if it's not going. If you have to force it to a point where it's not moving, it means you've probably got something misaligned. So it's just slowly going in and almost there. This last little part, just push it in gently with your thumb. And as soon as it stops, don't force it any further. So I'm pretty sure the sound on this one was faulty, so you might not hear it if we start it up here. So yeah, the light comes on, but there is no sound. I can't remember why. I think I'm going to have to change that little circuit, that little speaker on the circuit board there. But you can see the light comes on. That's good enough for me. So switch it off. It's not going to make any vibrations because we've taken out the vibration motor here. So if we pop that in there and just push it in, we should hear it vibrate now. Oh, and the sound's come back on. And it's gone off again, so yeah. As you can hear, the sound is faulty, but it does work. I might actually, while I've got this open, I might clean out that little speaker port there and see if that fixes it, but it does work. It's got the new upgraded battery. If you have the old battery, I'm 90% certain that the old ones here were only about 450 milliamps. I don't know why, but I just feel like they were smaller. So, I mean, going from 700 to 850 milliamps, it's not a massive increase in battery life. I'm also doing this just for the video, but also because I do need the battery life to be extended for when we go away. But yeah, you really only need to do this if you're replacing a faulty battery and you can't get a replacement. It doesn't give you much of a benefit unless you have a smaller battery in there. But just shows you guys how you can do it. It is very easy to do. If you do have a faulty battery, that is essentially how you open it up and how you replace it. You don't need to solder all these new parts together to get, a bigger battery. You can just replace it with one. XP have a really good warranty on their pinpointers. So, if you're within that, I think it's 2 to 3, 5 year warranty or whatever, just ask them for a new battery. They will straight up send you one out, especially if you're in Australia. The XP dealers are really good with that sort of thing. XP themselves in France, I don't know, I haven't dealt with them. So if you're overseas, it may take you a little bit longer to get a battery, but this is where you can get the replacements instead. This is just showing you guys how you can install them. If for whatever reason you can't get one from XP, just get one on eBay. I'll put a photo at the end of this clip of the exact parts you need, the battery, what the original one is and what the replacement one is. But yeah, if you just have any questions, just drop a comment below. I'm trying to make this as straightforward as possible, but yeah, don't hesitate to ask if you do get stuck. I can't imagine many people will use this tutorial, but it's here if you need it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.